My favorite part when I hear that story about Bubble is that Doug was managing a team of 14 developers that were all just volunteering because they all believed in the product so much. And I think that's the great thing about entrepreneurship is that if you truly come up with a great idea, then people are willing to work to do whatever it takes to bring it to reality.
Yeah, man. And it's like when you have it, I think it's like what true love must be like, you know, it's like, oh my God, this is it, guys. Like, this is totally it, you know? Everybody knows that, you know, everybody's on the same page and on board with the idea, and it's really exciting. And yeah, that was, I really love that you like highlight that because it was such an exciting moment in life, you know?
I really like the parallel you draw with like just to the other emotions of like love, just because it's interesting because when we've talked to other entrepreneurs and they talk about like what they call entrepreneur porn on YouTube, where it's people who are just saying, if you can do whatever you want as long as you put your mind to it. And it's a really simple message. And but like
buff.
yes.
Yeah, just do it.
Exactly. But then real entrepreneurs will come and tell you that like you're gonna fall in love and you're just gonna get smashed, just like in every other type of way where you actually like give into something and you, I guess when I say submit, you just really give into it. And I'm wondering how you would tell other people who are starting entrepreneurs or trying to be entrepreneurs to like be ready for that, to come ready to deal with overcoming these types of obstacles that come down on you when your dream crashes.
So like, how's the best way to get over a broken heart, essentially?
Basically, yeah. I was trying to avoid that word, but yeah, no, that's exactly what it is.
Well, and you know, I think it's so funny because I really put a lot of thought into this when I was building the company. Is like, a company is so your child. Like it's like strange how much it's like your child, you know? And not that I've ever had a child, so I guess I couldn't really, you know, be completely.
The point I was trying to draw is that like you probably came dangerously close to all this time and investment and emotion into this project. It's probably really similar if you look at the emotional profile of it.
Well, and you know, like I just think about all the nights I like spent like sleepless, like tossing and turning in bed or like on the balcony, like how am I gonna make this work for these guys? Because like the most important thing to me was my team on my back. You know, I was like, I got 14 guys. They all love this thing. How can I make them love it even more? You know. Mm-hmm. I mean, what's the best way to get over that? Time,
or even like telling other entrepreneurs or friends or like each other. Like, what do you tell yourself when you're about to start a new project? Does it even come into your mind that you might have to deal with the downside, or is that just outside of your mind until it comes?
Yeah. So for me, like starting as an entrepreneur, I was really lucky to have started this in college because like I was focusing on college. I was full-time in school, so I didn't necessarily have to like work a job, you know. Like I feel like entrepreneurship gets a lot harder when you have financial pressures building on your back. But for me, I think that entrepreneurship, like with the mindset, like you should search for failure. I just think about when I first started, there were some things that like that I did that I was just like so delirious. Like looking back, like how did I think that would work, you know, like, and just like failing like flat on my face, you know. But now like when I now where I am now, you know, I just look back at those and I'm just so thankful that I put in the time and I tried to like, I had these ideas that I may have been emotionally attached to, and then I'm figuring out the hard way that they're not going to work. I had this guy that was a mentor to me, and he was an angel investor. He worked with like Damon John. He was a really cool guy, and like I would come up with ideas, and whenever I would like be like, oh yeah, this is the idea, I would hit him up and I'd go to his house and I'll sit down with him. And I remember the first time I sat down with him, I had this whole presentation out and I was like really hyped to talk to this guy. I go to his house. He had this big house, and I was sitting in his back porch, and I open up my laptop, and I'm like pulling out the presentation. He's like, "Shut your laptop." I'm like, "Wait." He's like, "No, shut it. What's your idea?" And I'm like, "I have a." He's like, "I don't care." And like, so I start telling him my idea, and he's just playing devil's advocate, just like tearing me to shreds. And he's like, "I'm not saying your idea is shitty. I'm just saying like this, and this is what's wrong with it. Come to me with the solutions for these problems, and then I can move you on to the next guy." And then. But his problems were, it was just kind of his way of saying your idea is shit. Yeah. Because those problems didn't really have like solutions, at least when I look back at them. But that, it's like getting high on an idea or getting high on like an opportunity in the market, and then realizing that, oh man, this isn't such an opportunity like I thought it was. That's a repetitive cycle. And to be in college and have the freedom to know like, okay, like there's not a family, there's not children depending on me, you know, like I have the ability to fail this much.
Yeah.
So I need to fail as much as possible while I still have like all the spotlight's not on me yet, you know, while I don't have all these commitments, these financial commitments. So I think that's like what makes entrepreneurship really easy for me. I mean, it's not easy, but like just the failure, it makes it easier on me. If that's what I'm trying to say.
At our age, we have the time to fail,
Right.
which is what's so beautiful about it. And I see it as like regret minimalization to go out and do these things
And take risks. Yeah.
Well, I think that's why they say fail fast, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to know, because I want to redirect this because I'm going to get to your pet topic here pretty soon, regarding fragility and trying to instill this in people. We very lightly brushed upon school being a little bit backwards in terms of how it instills these types of lessons in you, because the failure is kind of netted in a way that what you guys are talking about isn't, where your failures, they have deeper consequences than maybe getting a lower grade in a class, right? And so what you're talking about is really realistic in terms of how humans are just operate in general, and being able to fail and then learning the skills to be able to pick yourself back up. How do you think that the school system is not doing that, and where do you see this going? If you know what I'm saying, if it's not teaching you guys how to properly deal with these things, what's it doing?
Well, I think the biggest thing is like we should return to more like vocational type school. Like I think that has like a pretty bad rep for no reason, you know?
Because those people prop up civilization.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Well, and it's crazy that it's gotten such a bad rep. I don't know why. I guess because of the types of jobs that it was like producing in the past, like blacksmiths or I don't know, whatever.
Wall builders and sword forgers.
Yeah.
Plumber,
Well, I think
like
a car mechanic is probably like the most
Yeah. No, and
standard
plumbers
example.
And,
Yeah, plumber.
Exactly.
But like, you know, this is like such a key concept as like mastering the pupil, you know? I think that's
Yes.
like that's how education should be.
And that's what you talked about. You said real life experience is way more worth it than anything else because you've got that ability. But
like you truly have the understanding. And I think that in a system where it's like pass or fail, number one, like that's a flawed way to grade people. And number two is that like, you know, after kind of going through that and getting the validation and just like kind of managing that, like, yeah, sure, like I learned some things, but could it have been better? Yeah. Did I learn everything that I needed to like get through and make this like, you know, make, I guess, computer science or programming my career? No way. And a lot of the teachers are just like, you know, you're a number, especially at like a place like UCF where there's like 60,000 plus students.
Yeah.
You're a number, man, you know, and like you either pass or you fail. And that's not a good way to teach people like how life works.
Because Abe was on the podcast last, and he was talking about how his experience with school. He said school is what you make it, right? And he said what school taught him to do was how to learn. Would you guys say that you agree with that, or you disagree with that?
Yeah, like how to critically think. Yeah,
You think so? So it did help you with that?
Yeah, 100%. Like, yes, that
Brian,
was
did it
probably the
help with
most
you?
valuable thing.
Yeah?
Yeah. Mhm.
Did it help you, Brian?
Um,
Or was it a completely different experience? Because like obviously everyone takes school their own way, and a lot of people don't experience that.
Yeah, I've never really had much success with school. I think I've really enjoyed school. There's probably been one class in my life that I was like, wow, this was a great class. My computer science 1 class. But beyond
That's
that,
a sign.
school has always been this thing that just gets in the way. I think, but it's like something that, like, okay, if I devote 30-40% of my time towards school, then that means I have 60% of my time to just screw around, you know. And when I say screw around, I mean like use the internet and learn a bunch of things I'm passionate about, you know, go out and have real world experiences. And that's where I get most of my learning from.
Me too. Yeah.
Because like when it comes to school teaching you to learn, I don't necessarily say I would agree, because for me, my whole life, like I've been like in high school or like when I was pre-med or finance, like there were just information being presented that I just resisting, you know? So it's hard for me to learn how to learn with that. I think that there's just certain experiences in life that happen to you that teach you like how to learn. One of my buddies, he's the wing commander at UCF for ROTC, so it's like the top position, and he's a computer scientist, and he was homeschooled his entire life. And he told me, I asked him about homeschooling, because everybody has like this the usual thing, like, oh yeah, I'll never homeschool my kids. Like they won't be socialized, they'll be weird outcasts, you know. But for him, he is like the most extroverted kid I know at UCF. And I was like, there's clearly something happened to this guy to make him like so exceptional. Like, he's very religious. He brought me out to his church one time. We had like a 3-hour conversation, and he told me, I asked him about homeschooling. I asked him a lot of questions about it, and I just wanted to bring this up because it comments on the question you're asking. I asked him like, so like, was your mom a great teacher? Like what was it? And he's like, honestly, man, like, my mom taught me a little bit in algebra 1, but my mother just taught me like how to learn. Like after that, like I taught myself all the math. And like for me, teaching myself all the math, that's how I really learned how to learn. I learned he said he learned how to learn from like independent study, you know? And I feel like for me, independent study, I really get so much out of it when I'm passionate about the topics. And with school, it's like, you know, they try to push you into this certain line, where with me, I diverge into all different areas of life. I try to connect the dots from all different subjects in life. And that's how I retain information. So school for me is just like one of those things that, okay, like just do it so that you can have an excuse to like just do your own independent study. Because if I wasn't in school, then I'd have to be working a full-time job for sure. And then at that point, I think that it would take away from the free time to just think and like really reflect on my life and where I want to go.